Alrighty. We are on Portal 2, and we are going to be looking at a community chamber level called Arctaninium. And it is, it was made from a community member. It's a single player level, and we're just going to be kind of doing a little analysis on how it was designed. So you're immediately greeted with a very overgrown, kind of abandoned entrance right here. And with the narrow hall here, it's very obvious where the players should go. And again, like looking at all the designs, there's these leaves kind of hanging from everywhere, water dripping, and a very like abandoned, almost like rundown, post-apocalyptic feel. So yeah, you're greeted with this big open area, the light coming from the top. And at first it might be a little bit confusing, like where am I supposed to go? But this kind of orange glow coming from the side here is a good indication. And so you go ahead and throw your portals here just to get across, and then you really actually get started with the level. So you don't really have a choice but to drop on down, and it's actually really cool. You drop onto this glass that shatters and lets you in, so really just kind of reinforcing that theme of abandoned and run down and kind of swampy with all the stuff growing from the ground. So yeah, it's just a cool room to start. And then the doors, though, are the stuff that actually works, is obviously looking a lot more intact and well done. So this is pretty consistent with a lot of the portal levels where you go through a narrow corridor, and as you enter the place, you're greeted with your puzzle. You got a big open area. You just kind of get to take it in and kind of analyze what you're supposed to do. So yeah, there's some player guidance right off the bat. All these walls and stuff, as a person who has played Portal, like these community chambers, you're expected to kind of know the fundamentals of Portal. So there's not a whole lot of guidance or any tutorial stuff. It's expected that you know this from playing the game. So yeah, we'll start with just kind of going through. They've got these guidelines to kind of show what button connects to that. It turns orange and drops your cube. So the cube's going to be helpful here, because if we go ahead and look further into the level, we'll see that to get to the exit here, we're going to have that button pressed. And you know that from the guidance here. So just kind of looking at it, it looks like we're going to have to push the cube onto the button here, and then from there we'll have to we'll be able to leave this part of the level. But the catch is that you've got this barrier, and once you cross the barrier here, your portal on the other side goes away. So it's not as simple as just here and there. So to get around this, looks like another button up top is going to connect to drop the barrier here. So we can use this kind of energy field here to put the cube up. Once that hits there, this will kind of resolve that issue, right? So now the only issue is, we have to get the cube over here and the portal. So just thinking about it, I could switch the orange portal to right here, and then I'd have the force field coming through here, but then I wouldn't have the cube with me. There's no way for the cube to get across. So I think the best way to, or really the only way to do this, is that you have to bring the cube across first, and then you can set up your portal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the cube by moving my blue portal here, and then I will move my orange portal to get the cube into here. And now these portals allow me to go back and forth, so this barrier isn't so much of a bother anymore. It actually lets me pass through. So I'll go back to the other side. I have my orange portal there, so I'm gonna go ahead and throw my blue portal, which will give us the energy in this first section here. And then I'll go ahead and move that up to there, and we'll put the cube in, and that gets us past the first section. Alright. So yeah, moving here, as you see, like you enter, there's not really much to look at, so naturally the player's going to look up and continue moving on with the levels here. So yeah, kind of cool mini rooms, and again, tight corridor leading into the big room as a really good arrival. So yeah, so again, you drop in, you're greeted with some cool animations and sound effects like that with the crow. And it's a lot to take in, and that's how a lot of portal levels are. But our only option really is to drop down here. So we'll drop down, and again, not much instruction. There's a little bit of player guidance with, you know, the symbols of like the X matches with that, so it's kind of implied that whatever you end up doing to one of them is going to affect the other. So we'll go ahead and push this button. It's glowing, it brings the player's attention there, and that gives us a cube. Okay, so this cube, like cubes are obviously going to be needed for this. The first thing I see to do is throw a portal here to grab that, and then this will let us get across here, because from here there's not really anywhere we can go, so we're gonna have to move on through here. So we'll go ahead and cross, and then again another small section, not a lot that we can do from here other than go upwards with this bottom floor portal. So move this here, and then I'll go up with the cube, and we can kind of see how we're working our way across using the energy waves. So then same deal, we'll drop in here, and then this will bring us to the button. So I know that this X is going to connect to, so yeah, with the buttons as well, there's kind of an implication that the cube is going to go on it instead of a player, because you can't stand on the button and move around the level. So we got the cube, and that moved that over there. So that brings my attention to that, and moving forward, like how am I going to get out of here? There's a little bit of, like, you know, spray painted graffiti on the wall with an arrow, kind of implying that that's the direction to go. So yeah, I'm going to drop back down onto the safe platform here. We can see we've got the exit sign there, so it looks like we're going to have to get some momentum, fly from here all the way to there. And I think we could do, you know, just, you can do the same thing that we just did to get our height, to get back across, kind of repeat the system, and then we'll go up, and then from here we can just drop straight down and place our other portal there to get us all the way across. We'll go ahead and do that. We'll drop in, it'll shoot us across in a pretty intense landing. Yeah, so then going here, it looks like you're going to be going through this door, drops you down another intense drop with some effects and stuff, and you land in some swampy area. So it's a really good mix-up and keeps the player intact and intrigued with what's going on, because it's not just the same thing, oh, going through another door, a level, door, level. So yeah, I think this is really good design here. Again, keeping with the green colors, the overgrown theme, and then as we work our way into the next level, we're greeted with a big arrival, where you just kind of get to take it all in for a second and really enjoy it. So from here, just kind of looking at it, we've got our cube across there. I know that that's going to be the exit because we've seen that sign. I know that's what I'm shooting for. We've got the light glowing on it. So really just kind of bringing the player's attention to where the goal is really. So yeah, so starting this puzzle, we'll always start with dropping a cube in. Oh, and actually that drops the cube there that we've already seen. So not much to do with that. And just the player is going to be interested in just testing and seeing what all this stuff does. So that lowers this platform for us, and that's going to be what helps us to get across. And so somebody with this portal experience knows that this jump is not feasible. It's not something that I'm going to be able to make. So I'm going to need that platform to come down. And so we'll start by grabbing our laser and setting it up to connect to that, which, as we can see, the dotted line tells us it'll break this barrier here. And so the catch here is that we need to get the cube across, but we obviously can't get it because we can't shoot a portal to portal it over, so we'll have to kind of work our way around that. So then I'm going to move that portal, which will open the cube line here, and then we have to drop the cube in. So we can't drop the cube with our blue portal because the cube breaks when it passes through the barrier here, but fortunately my blue portal is actually still good, so I can drop it with my orange one, and that'll bring it to safety here. So we got our cube. We can't bring it across. We have to kind of rework our same deal we just did. That'll open that up, and that allows us to place this there, and we don't have to worry about any of the barriers or anything like that. That lowers it for us, and that gets us out of this part right here. So yeah, another good entrance. And so I think it's interesting how they have the door broken to really stick with the abandoned theme, the light casting on it, and the theme is just consistent throughout. It looks really good. Alright, so Again, another entrance, another arrival. You're greeted with not a lot of instruction again. You've got some kind of, I guess there's some like leading lines as you go, just growing into it, the room itself. And then really the only guidance would be like the walls that a Portal player knows are usable, and then we just kind of go from there. So you can see that this button is gonna deactivate this barrier. We've got our light wave going, so we know that we're gonna have to use that. And just kind of exploring the level, the player will see that there's a button here, and that cube drops way too far out of reach. So there's gonna have to be a different way to get that, and it's a little bit tricky to find at first. It took me a minute, but there's actually a hidden wall down here so that the cube can drop in. Oh, I think it already did. Yep, cube drops in, and we're gonna have to timing this properly. Once it's up there, we have to change the direction so that we don't lose the cube to the barrier. Then we can portal the cube up over here, and just grab it and bring it in. So now we can actually use that to drop the barrier, and we don't have to worry about standing on it. So going from here, I can kind of tell we gotta go up. We see the exit sign there, the arrow's pointing to it. If we look at this, there's a portal wall here, and then a blank wall. So my guess is that you're gonna have to use the blue paint to get your way across here. And so with that, we'll go ahead and start to get the paint actually. And so the paint actually gathers into the light waves. And so we want it to be just kind of sitting in there. And then eventually we can change direction and move it onto there. So that way we can bounce off of that. That's what the blue paint does. It allows us to bounce from there. So it's really clever the way they do it and stuff, and I think it's a good level design in general. And like, so far as you can see, like the levels are very linear. There's some stuff like you have to do something and you'll go back and forth a little bit, but in general, like you're always like moving towards the next step. And there's not much extra stuff to do. There's no side rooms and stuff like that. It's just pretty straightforward. So moving from here, we'll go ahead and now we can use the portal to get our momentum going upward. And then we can drop on down, bounce off the paint we just used, and that'll bring us up top here. And so that's the level. That is the community level that was designed. I think it's really great. It took me a while to get through it the first time, but honestly, like the theme and stuff was really well done. It has that like futuristic portal stuff, but shows how it's run down and abandoned. Yeah, so I think that honestly a great level design, especially from a community member. Some really good puzzles with some interesting catches. So yeah, thank you very much.